So for my first vlog, I think I'm going to start with what I'm kind of doing at the moment. So obviously my 3-year-old is in daycare 4 days a week. I have the baby. I pretty much just stay at home. I have a group thing that I do every Wednesday. I am going to the gym. I've been doing that for the last 2 months, trying to go 5 days a week, between 4 or 5 days a week, when the kids are in bed. I am on antidepressants at the moment. A lot of issues from when I had my 3-year-old kind of came back up once I had my second. We own our own home. I've been with my partner since we were like 13, so a pretty long time. We have our 2 dogs, I'm sure you can see a lot of photos of. One's a French Bulldog. Oh. Baby almost fell off the deck. And a Chihuahua who is 6 years old. His name is Bolt. Don't know if you can hear him barking, but pretty much all he does. Sorry I look so terrible. And also all these videos that I upload I do not watch. So if they're boring or repetitive or just look like shit, please don't judge, because I don't watch them. I can't bring myself to do it yet. The next vlog I'm gonna do is going to talk about the more deeper things, so definitely harder things is gonna be my depression. I've never had, well, I have had depression before, but I didn't know it was depression. I ignored it for the last 3 years, and only now has it kind of gotten a lot worse, so bad to where I couldn't handle it myself. I needed some help. I've never been on antidepressants before, so that was pretty different. So pretty much when I got pregnant with my older son, I was 19, and I was told that I could not have kids, which a lot of people I've heard are told that. We weren't using any contraceptive for years and nothing kind of happened, so I kind of got used to the idea of not having kids as much as it hurt. And then all of a sudden on my 19th birthday I conceived Casey. It was exciting but scary. I wasn't expecting it. I don't think anyone was expecting it. Had a pretty normal pregnancy. My labour was pretty traumatic. I went 2 weeks overdue and was put off my induce once. I had bronchiolitis and tonsillitis, and then I was booked to be induced on the Friday, but I went into labour that Thursday night. It was about 10 o'clock at night. I kept waking up pretty much every 5 minutes, just needing to go toilet. I didn't kind of acknowledge it until I think it was about 12 o'clock, to where I kind of realised that I was going toilet every 5 minutes, because obviously when you're so pregnant you're so used to waking up to go toilet all the time. So I got in the bath while my partner was still asleep, and it got pretty bad from, I think I was in the bath for a few hours, and then I called my mum and told her that she needed to come down. She straight away came down. She had to break into the house because my partner wouldn't wake up. She got me out of the bath, she told my partner, and we went down to the hospital, and I was in labour for, I think, like it was about 24 hours. I was pushing for, I think, 4 hours. It took a really long time. He wasn't in the right position. He had his head up instead of down, and he had his back towards my stomach, I think. I don't know, it was the opposite way that he was supposed to be, so he got stuck. I did have to have an epidural because they were preparing me for a C-section. I felt like I was okay without it. It was a really long time, but I was on gas, and gas was definitely doing it for me. But after I had him, all he did was scream, obviously, and they put him straight on me, but I had to get a lot of stitches. So as they were stitching me up, and then he's screaming, and I've got this, you know, I'm still feeling really horrible from all the gas that I had. So I asked my partner to take the baby. I think he was only on me for like 3 minutes before I asked my partner to take him. So I got stitched up and everything, and then, you know, the next day, well, a couple hours later, that's when we tried the breastfeeding, and he wouldn't latch, and the midwife left, and then she came in like a half an hour later, and I kind of just popped him on. I was so tired, like I was zoning in and out. I didn't even know what I was doing. She came in, saying it was on. She's like, cool, he's on. No one checked if he was latching properly or not. We went home. I think I was only in hospital for 2 days. Then we went home. From then, my partner went back to work. Casey had a few problems, so he would scream 24/7. I could only breastfeed for maybe 2 weeks before it was just too much, to where every time I'd pull my bra down, it would pull off my nipple. Like, it was pretty painful. So I did pumping to kind of give them a break. My milk was red from the amount of blood. So I didn't go back to breastfeeding. I hated it. It was horrible. I got anxiety just hearing him cry, knowing that he's going to want to feed. So I pumped. I think I pumped for about 2 months. That was really tiring as well, but we did it and it was okay. After that, I put him on formula because my milk dropped. I think once you start pumping and you're not breastfeeding, usually your milk does kind of dry up after time, because there's not a natural demand as a baby would, so a baby would constantly increase it. So with pumping, you're kind of just pumping until the milk's gone. You're not like cluster feeding with it, obviously. So I put him on formula. For the first 3 months of his life, he screamed 24/7, having a 15-hour nap around lunchtime. I lost 22 kgs in 2 weeks after having him because I physically couldn't eat. I was holding him, rocking him, because all he did was scream. In those 15 minutes, after finally getting him to sleep, I calculated precisely of how long it would take to make a piece of toast. I did smoke. That's kind of how I dealt with it. So I would have a cigarette, and then I would have some toast, and then by then he would wake up, so I'd go and wash my hands and change my clothes and pick him back up, and you know, the next 12 hours began. He was pretty good at sleeping at night. He wouldn't scream at night. I think he was so tired from during the day. He did wake up maybe every 40 minutes though. Pretty much just wanted to be fed all the time. And then I got referred, because of my weight loss and all his screaming and everything, I got referred from my Plunkett to Mothercraft. And I think that's when I really acknowledged an issue. A lot of people were telling me how hard it is, you know, they do the cried out method, and it's hard sitting there listening to your baby scream all the time, but just to stick with it. And once I got there, and you know, obviously you can hear all the babies screaming, and all the mums are having like anxiety and panic attacks, and they're upset and they're really struggling with it, and I was just kind of sitting there, like it didn't hurt me to hear him cry. I just wanted it to be fixed. And I thought that was a bit strange. Like I wasn't as sad as everyone else that my baby was sitting there screaming. So anyway, after we did a full 5 days at Mothercraft, he came out a completely different child. All the babies did. He slept pretty much 24/7. Like, he was amazing. He didn't need a dummy. He didn't need any white noise anymore. He didn't need me to rub his back for 6 hours. I would just lie him down and he would just go to sleep. And he would sleep for hours in his naps, and then he slept through the whole night. And he was just such a happy baby when he wasn't sleeping. So we kind of figured that he just didn't know how to self-settle. So he would kind of get into that cycle of getting so overtired that he couldn't sleep. He couldn't fall asleep. He didn't know how to get himself to sleep. So we kind of needed to help him. And when I say cried out, it's not just letting your babies cry until they fall asleep. It is controlled. They only do it for about 10 minutes at a time, and then the buzzer goes off and a nurse comes and let you know. They're going to go in, they're going to rewrap the baby, settle the baby, give the baby a little rock, and then put the baby back down, and then the timer starts again. And then after so many hours of doing that, then they redo the cycle. So baby's up, and then you feed the baby, play with the baby, and then you put the baby down. So it's not as horrible as a lot of people think. It is hard. A lot of people do struggle with it. In my eyes, it works for us. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for us. I see personally that a baby needs sleep just as much as us, and if we don't sleep enough, obviously we're real shitty the next day. Real shitty, real tired, don't want to do anything, and of course that's how the babies feel if they don't get enough sleep. So, and they won't remember it. They're not going to hate you for the rest of their life. Like, you know, they kind of wake up in the morning and they're happy. They don't remember last night that you let them cry for 10 minutes before going in and seeing them. But anyway, so after that, we came home. I stayed at home with him until he was 1. And then I went back into part-time work. I put him into daycare. And I worked 25 hours. Most of the time it was more than that, but I was contracted for 25. And then, so I was at work quite a lot. I knew something was off, but I didn't kind of go deep enough or try and figure it out. I kind of just let it go. Another thing that really got me is when he was little and he just started smiling. I would always have Plunkett and friends and family and everyone say, when they smile, it makes everything so worth it though, doesn't it? You know, the hours awake all night, as soon as they smile at you, it makes it worth it. I never understood that because it didn't. He would smile, but I wouldn't feel that way. I'd be like, well, he's still screaming. So I went back to work, and then I think I had been working for 2 years before I fell pregnant with my second. And I was a little bit worried that the baby was kind of going to be the same as Casey, so screaming all the time. You know, I was worried about the labour and the birth and everything else, but I was prepared. I felt ready to have another baby. I was prepared to be awake for hours on end. Pregnancy was pretty normal. I went a week and a half overdue with him before I said I want to be induced, because last time I went 2 weeks. So, you know, I went in to get induced. They just did a gel. They had been trying to do stretch and sweep since I was 38 weeks, but I was still really high and completely closed. There was nothing going on, so they couldn't even do that. Even the day of my induction, they still couldn't even do a stretch and sweep. Like, nothing was going on. So I got the gel put in, did some walking and kind of just watched some TV on my phone. We were prepared to be there for a few days before anything kind of happens. That's usually what happens. It got to about 7 o'clock at night, and I just had these weird little pains, but I mean, when you're full term in pregnancy, it's painful all the time, so I didn't think about it. I didn't even think that it was labour, and the pain just got worse and worse, and I was in so much pain I didn't even think, you know, I'm in labour. But anyway, well,